the most important life lesson that I have learned, now I've learned quite a few, but the most important I learned when I was a little kid. My grandma taught me it, and it's from the Bible, to treat others how you want to be treated. Now, although I learned this lesson quite young, I don't think I understood what it meant. Like, I didn't really enforce it properly until I was older, when in fact, treating others how you want to be treated, it ties into a lot of things, like just basically being nice to people, like thinking before you speak, emphasizing, putting yourself in that person's situation. Think, would I like to be treated like this? Would I like to be spoken to like this? And the point is, you don't know what's going on in other people's minds, what's going on in their life behind closed doors. So you always need to remember this when you're talking to people. If you're having a bad day, not to take it out on anybody else, because you don't know what they're dealing with. Maybe they're having an even worse day, and you don't know that. And a classic example, in English Lit GCSE, we read this play, An Inspector Calls. And spoiler alert, it's basically about how this whole family collectively together led to this one woman's suicide, where each, without realizing and without knowing that they had all knew this woman, they had all wronged her in some way. One person firing her, another member of the family getting her pregnant and ditching her, another member of the family getting her fired from another job, and all of these little things all added up to her committing suicide. And I'm not saying if you give somebody a bad word that they're going to go do that, but the point is, you don't know what's going on in their life past that. You need to remember this when you speak to people. And I try to enforce it. Like I said, I didn't really enforce it properly until I was older. Like, I went for a lot of my teen years because I went to quite a rough school. So of course people would try and start and stuff like this, and I would always retaliate, and like, it seemed like such a good idea at the time. And I'm not saying, let people walk all over you, don't stand up for yourself. Of course I'm not saying that, but the point is, you don't know what else is going on in their life. I remember one time in sixth form, this girl tried to start me, she tried to give me a bit of hassle, and luckily I'd matured by this point. I was about 17 years old, and I was kind of like, you know what, grow up. And then a couple of weeks later, it came out she tried to kill herself. And it's quite a horrible thought. Like, what if I had retaliated? What if I'd spoken to her that way? What if I'd pushed her over the edge and insulted her and started on her back? But luckily, I chose to remember what my grandma said and what it says in the Bible, to treat others how you want to be treated. And I try to remember it every single day, and I try to remember that when I'm having a bad day, or if somebody else is having a bad day, to think, would I want somebody to speak to me like that?